Hello and welcome to my World Civilization video project for Christopher Perry. This video project deals with Chapter 26, China from the Ming through the early Qing Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty ruled from 1368 through 1644, the Qin Dynasty from 1644 through 1911. Its location was in Eastern Europe. As you notice in the map, you can see that the maximum extent of the Ming Empire was up to about here, which is roughly half of the maximum extent of the Qin Empire, and this is likely due to the growing population, so they moved further west to grow more food and make more sustenance for the growing population. The Ming Dynasty was one of China's three golden ages. The Qin Dynasty was the final imperial dynasty in China. It's thought that this was due to their failed miscalculation on the strength of new Western technologies, as well as the strength of European and Western civilizations. And the ethnicity of these two dynasties were primarily ethnic Chinese. Warfare in the Ming Dynasty. Ming military equipment, they mainly had lightly equipped cavalry, archers on horses, lancers with shields, and sabers. It's thought that the flaws of the Ming military were that horse archers were ineffective at close range. The use of sabers was you could only use sabers if you charged the enemy head first, and it's also thought that the military decline was due to substantially due to corruption and mismanagement of head military leaders. Warfare in the Qin Dynasty. The Qin Dynasty's major battles were the Battle of Yamen, the Battle of Shanai Pass, Battle of Yangxia, and another one that's great to mention is the Opium Wars, which is where the British smuggled opium into the country to try to start an addiction epidemic to make the to make the dynasty fall in power. Combat styles were a lot of gunpowder weaponry, such as early forms of rifles and cannons. And another great thing to mention about the Qin Dynasty military is the Imperial Chinese Navy, which was founded in 1875 and only existed until 1912, with early forms of ironclad steamships. Politics of the Ming Dynasty. The Censorate. The Censorate were powerful bureaucrats who had direct access to the emperor, had the power to impeach other officials for dereliction of duty. Another great one is the Grand Secretariat and the Six Ministries. And the Six Ministries were the Ministry of Personnel, who handled all matters relating to government employees, the Ministry of Revenue, who was in charge of tax collection, the Ministry of Rights was in charge of all ceremonial matters, the Ministry of War was in charge of all matters relating to the armed forces, the Ministry of Justice, responsible for judicial and penal process, the Ministry of Works, who was in charge of all government construction projects and maintenance of roads. The social structure of the Ming Dynasty was the otherwise known as gentry scholars, the Nong or peasant farmers, the Gong or artisans and craftsmen, the Shang or merchants and traders. Politics of the Qin Dynasty. It was an absolute monarchy, which means that no one could talk against the emperor's rule. The Great Qin Legal Code, which was, depending on the severity of your crime, you would either get beatings by a light bamboo stick, beatings by a heavy bamboo stick, penal service. Penal service would occur in an area of the country other than where you were from, exile for life from the country, or, depending on the severity of your crime, the death sentence. The social structure or the class system, as you can see in the pyramid below, was the emperor and his immediate family, social bureaucrats, gentry and their immediate family, working class, otherwise known as the peasants, the workers, the merchants, and the lower classes, the commoner people, such as slaves, servants, prostitutes, low levels of government employees, and military forces. Well, when I say military forces, I mean like the infantrymen, the lowest rank men in the military. And that's all for my first draft. Thank you.